Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Jeez. Shit. Stopping! Whoa, yes.
Hey guys, today we're going to be reviewing the WHYTE Elyte 150 RSX. Super excited about this one. Read a few reviews when it first came out and it scored really well and won a couple of the shootout tests in Europe. So super excited to ride this bike. Really interested to see how it goes up against the full fat bikes. I'm going to be riding with a group of guys, our normal guys, plus a few others on this ride, and just see how does it go in a typical day on one of my typical rides. Really keen. What I'll do is to break the video up a little bit as we go through the ride. I'll put up some pics and talk a little bit about the bike as we go, so hopefully it's not too boring for you. Come along and see what I think of this bike for the day.
Right, quick update. Done the first bit of a climb. Haven't done any downhill yet, so I thought I'd do this bit. Obviously as an uphill. What do I think? Because as I've said before, I'm only 55 newton meters, and the theory always was, oh well, the light bike slider is not that different to a full fat bike and a full weight bike. I can tell you now, it is different. Definitely different. Anyway, we'll keep going. So I'm not too sure if you can see this in GoPro land, but I'm literally getting left in the dust on the climb. I'm in e-bike mode, pedaling slightly above cadence to what I normally would be, and still getting dropped by the guys and girls. Look how far away they've got already, just casually climbing up here. So first impressions are, you have to be a Lance Armstrong if you're going to keep up with the rest of your crew if they're on full fat. Alright, let's see if I survive to the top.
Well, you think not really much of a drop, does it? No, you took the tip off, it's another roll. I just roll everything. If I can't roll it, you want to go now?
Oh yeah, I'll go. Let's see if I can.
Now this is the first bike I've ridden with the new SRAM T-type transmission derailleur. It's a GX1 on this particular model, and I must admit it's brilliant. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Definitely a step up from the older Axis system, and I'll be most definitely getting it on my next bike. Performed faultlessly all day. It was definitely one of the highlights on this bike.
Or just slow, like it's no power. Mark's into it.
Now, reviewing bikes is incredibly difficult because it's so subjective. So what I'll do is I'll break it down into 4 elements. Yes, these 4 elements make up this bike, but they're quite separate. So we will talk about the motor and how I found the motor. We'll talk about the battery. We will talk about the bike itself, the frame, and we'll also talk about the components. I find the components the least important, as they are only really applicable to a specific model of bike, and they can be changed really easy. Now, I guess one thing that you got to consider is the background. What am I coming from, and what is this ride like? So my normal ride is a WHYTE E180 Works, which comes with the race motor. So we're talking, my normal ride is the complete opposite end of the spectrum to this bike. So I guess you've got to take that into account of what this bike would feel like to me, as opposed to someone who's maybe come off a steam bike. We would have totally different, I guess, first impressions of it. And the second thing is the ride today. So As mentioned before, I'm actually riding with my normal group of guys, plus a few extras sprinkled through it, so they're all on full fat bikes. Again, if I was riding with steam bikes, I'd be an absolute legend, or if I was riding with other light e-bikes, it would probably be average. So my experience today is based on riding with other full fat e-bikes. So anyway, let's sit back, relax, enjoy the trails, and I'll put in a few more pics and a few more discussions as we go through the day.
It's dusty.
Fuck, my front wheel went into swelling. Fucking
How you going? Tony, how are you?
This is one of my favourite things in mountain biking. So in our group today, one of the ladies hasn't conquered this role yet, but she's really determined to. So one of the other girls said, don't worry, come on, let's go up and I will tow you in. So we're about to witness Mia's first roll at the end of Eastern Spice.
Nice, Mia! Right. Let's try. Cheers, mate.
Here we are on Gunnagotta. Now this is the trail I've decided to do the review on the motor aspect. Now I've picked this trail for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is your quintessential grade 3 flow trail here in Rotorua. And the other reason is I've actually ridden this trail before on another brand of light bike that had another brand of motor, so I just wanted it for personal reference. Okay, now this bike. Here we have the Bosch SX motor, 55 Newton meters and 600 watts of peak power. 600 watts of peak power, you say? Wow, that's the same as my CX Performance Bosch motor. That must be amazing. I did... You know, you do definitely, and you'll probably see this in some of my road climbs later, you definitely notice the drop in the Newton meters. You do get that assistance from the 600 watts, but you really need to be spinning like a hamster on crack in a wheel. It was uncomfortable for me, if I was honest. It felt like I was sprinting. So on this trail here, which is what I wanted to test it on, you need to get a couple of pedal strokes in to power you from one corner to the other, because the distance between them isn't actually that great. And what I found with this motor was, to get any assistance with the assistance that I required to keep up, felt like I was sprinting from corner to corner, and it was really taxing and a little off-putting. So instead of watching the trail, I was sort of concentrating on spinning my legs fast enough to keep up with these guys. Now you'll see in this next clip here, this is where the trail flattens out, which means I've got to pedal more, and I just simply get dropped. I can't keep up. I'm concentrating so much on spinning my legs to get the power out of the bike, they drop me. And not only that, is it's really critical on what gear you're in. If you're one gear out, you lose that assistance. So I found I spent all my time changing gears and spinning like crazy.
That's super handy.
Oh, still playing up.
Now it won't stay down.
Now, I couldn't have orchestrated this any better if I tried. This is exactly what it's like riding a light e-bike. You can see the full fat bikes there effortlessly cruising past me. Look at that one, not even pedaling. And these guys are actually conscious I'm on a light bike, so they're actually going slower than what they normally would. Now this guy in the red on the left, he's not part of our group, he's on a steamer. So you can see I can catch him relatively easy, and I actually pull out and pass him. One of the very few passes of the day. So that's what it's like. If I was riding with steam bikes, past them, I'd look like a champion. There you go. I'm starting to spin like a hamster now because it's getting steeper. I've gone up in power modes and I'm still getting dropped. So I'm working a lot harder and I'm literally going backwards in the group. Here we are, managing to catch up and pass some kids. and also the family dog, and I'm spinning and in a high power mode. This is exactly what it feels like.
I think I was being overcautious with range anxiety. We've just gone about 15k and I've just used 30%, and I'm not sure what my elevation is. Well, my heart thinks we've just climbed Everest, but I'll see what the watch says. So I've dialed it up a bit now to e-mountain bike and turbo up direct road, so getting used to it. An epic bike if you were fit. Alright, let's carry on. Yep. Alright, let's go. Go back. Alright, here we go. Everyone's new favourite now, corners. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Jeez. Shit. Stopping! Whoa, yes. It's gonna be a crash.
Right, time to talk battery, or shall I say batteries, as this bike comes with a range extender. So you have your 400 watt hours in your nice slim down tube, and the option to click on your 250 watt hour range extender. Notice how it's mounted really nice and low, and this is for two reasons. Keep that weight center of gravity nice and low near your feet, which is always handy, and also allows room to put a flintlock 250ml bottle up above it. Best of both worlds. Now, as mentioned, I had a huge amount of range anxiety coming into today's ride, and I was a little too overcautious. I was trying to ride into it to conserve battery, but it was just slowly killing me. So I clicked up through the power ranges as I went through the day. And now in hindsight, at the end of this ride, I had done 35 kilometers, just over 1,000 meters. It was like 1,050 meters of climbing, and I still had over 40% battery left. So that was more than enough battery for the ride, and I probably killed myself early on by trying to ride in a too lower mode. So as far as battery consumption goes, brilliant. That's a thumbs up for me on the battery. Be really interesting to see how it would go with only the 400 watt hour, see how far you could go on that, and see what difference that extra 1.5 kilos would make without having to run with the range extender. You could probably get a nice 20k ride in on a very light bike. I'd like to try that one day. Right, now let's talk the bike itself, the frame itself, the handling, in my opinion, the most important. Here is a little snippet from earlier on the day of my initial feelings of it, and please excuse the language, but I just wanted to keep it raw and real.
Tony, what are the impressions so far? At least general riding?
Oh, it's fucking epic as far as handling.
Really?
Fuck yeah.
Oh wow.
Fuck yeah.
And that sentiment stayed with me throughout the duration of the ride. This bike was amazing. It handled. I can totally see why it won the shootouts. I don't think I've ridden a bike that handles as good as this one, and it's a full 29er, so I'm used to mixed wheels. It'd be out of this world to ride one of these as a mixed wheel set. It'd be interesting to see how that would go. Although I did like the slightly higher bottom bracket clearance. Never touched the bottom bracket at all throughout the day. Now it's a full carbon frame, so that's always nice. The suspension platform is a lot less than what I'm used to, so 154 up front and a 142mm rear wheel travel, which I was a little bit anxious about, to be honest, but it handled perfectly. It performed beautifully. So myself at 93 kilos, I only bottomed it out, I only felt it bottom out once throughout the ride. Yes, I was certainly using all of that suspension travel, but it certainly wasn't harsh or uncomfortable in any way. and the forks are a bit smaller than what I'm used to, but we can talk about that when it comes to the componentry side of things. The thing that I really liked as well was the seat tube is really short and the dropper was really long. So what it meant was you could get a comfortable riding height but drop that seat well out of the way, despite the few adjustment issues I had earlier on in the ride. So that was really nice. All in all, I can't praise the frame of this bike enough. By far the best bike I've ever ridden. Love to ride one of these as MX one day. You know, I'd consider borrowing one. I think that would be just an absolute weapon of a bike. Anyway, we'll finish our ride down here and then we'll touch on the componentry for the last aspect.
Let's try and catch him up. Easy.
Right, components, last but not least. Now this is the RSX model that I'm riding today, so it sits below the top tier. And in my opinion, these are the bikes you want to look at. They have the performance of 99.9% of the top of the range bikes, but at a lower price point. My opinion, everything spec'd on this bike was perfect. You can get some of those bikes that they do drop away in some of the componentry trying to pull the costs down. This bike didn't fall into that category. Everything worked and was well suited to the bike. So up front we had the RockShox Lyric Select 150mm travel fork, much lighter than what I'm used to, but performed perfectly. No issues at all. At 93 kilos, I had no flexing issues, although we weren't riding super technical stuff or fast stuff, and no bottom outs or anything like that. It was a good, enjoyable fork to ride on. A little bit of a standout for me was the rear shock. So we have a RockShox Deluxe Select in the rear, only 142mm of travel. Now I must be honest, I was a little bit apprehensive about this. At 93 kilos I was like, oh, I'm going to be bottoming this out all day, I'm going to break it. Not the case at all. I had one slight bottom out throughout the day and it wasn't harsh at all. Still provided me with lots of pop. The suspension platform is unreal on this bike. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Rims comes with WHYTE's own rims, full carbon, full 29er as discussed before. Would really like to ride this bike as a mixed wheel set. I reckon it would be just out the gate. Tyres, pretty standard issue. Maxxis Minion DHF front, Maxxis Dissector on the rear. I run a similar combo here in the summer in Redwoods, so no issue there. 155mm cranks, well suited, no issue there. Drivetrain we talked about before, so the SRAM GXT type axis. Loved it, definitely getting it on my next bike. Does everything it says it's going to do on the box, so no issues there. Handlebars are alloy. Might have been nice to have some carbon rims on, carbon bars on it, but you know the bars are pretty easy to change out. Now one thing that annoys me a little bit with WHYTE is I love their grips. I love the WHYTE Enduro lock-on grip. You can't buy them. They only are OEMs. So that's really annoying. Buy them after that, I just would buy them. Anyway, the dropper, so it's WHYTE's own one. I touched on that earlier. The WHYTE Drop It. What I really liked on this bike here, so large and XL come with a 170 to 200mm dropper. Super handy with that short tube. You could really drop it out of the way, and yeah, that was actually noticeable from my current bike. I really liked that. And for brakes, we had the SRAM Bronze Stealth. These brakes were new to me. They worked fine. There was no real issues there with the brakes. Probably just needed a few minor adjustments for personal preference, but they certainly stopped the bike okay. They're on 200mm rotors, front and rear, and they're a 4-pot, so they are what you would expect them to be. They were sufficient for this bike. Now the overall, I guess, putting those components together, what does it look like on the cockpit? Nice and clean. You've got your nice little tidy mode shifter there with your Bosch system, the new Bosch system, the simple LED on the top tube there, which is nice and easy. Don't necessarily need a screen. I'm neither here nor there when it comes to the screens. The nice new pod shifter there for the SRAM, that's nice and tidy. I guess if you really wanted to, you could put a wireless dropper on it, but in my opinion, you're wasting your time. It's clean enough as it is. And that concludes my review of the WHYTE Elyte RSX 150. I need to shout out to Joe and the team at Electric Bike Rotorua for lending me the bike for the day for the review. Thoroughly enjoyed it and really appreciate it. And if you're in the market or you want to test ride this bike, definitely go and hit those guys up. Joe's always keen for a deal, and they also stock a wide range of the top brands when it comes to e-bikes. Alright guys, thanks for watching if you're still with me, and yeah, keep an eye out for the next one. Thank you.